welcome back to The Other Side. I am Anita Hartog, your host and mental health advocate, founder of One Heart at a Time Foundation. I am very excited today to bring you Anabell Arias. We are going to be talking about something that people carry silently, trauma and recovery. My guest today is Anabell, as I mentioned, a licensed trauma therapist and somatic healing specialist who helps women break free from anxiety, trauma, and the patterns that keep them feeling stuck. She combines EMDR therapy, attachment theory, and body-based healing techniques to help her clients not just talk about their pain, but actually release it emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you so much for being here, Anabell. I'm excited to dig in today. I think it's a really big topic that everybody needs to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to just dive into those topics because they really do change the trajectory of our life and how we are in relationships.
So before I start, I do love to just let everyone get to know Anabell, right? And who makes Anabell, where you grew up and your family life. And really, I believe that kind of maybe drives us sometimes into the profession we choose. So, let's hear about it. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up with my two parents, my mom and my dad, in actually Huntington Park.
Oh, okay. So you're a local girl.
Yeah, definitely local. We were there, lived in Southgate as well, Linwood, just all those surrounding cities. But my parents actually divorced when I was 5 years old.
Oh, very crucial time.
Definitely. And it's interesting, when we think of like young babies or young kids, we don't think about like how much they actually remember. But that memory of them actually having a really big fight and like cops getting involved, I remember it very vividly, right?
That's a core memory. It's traumatic.
Yes. And I might not remember all the details, but the images are there. And so they divorced when I was 5 and I went to go live with my mom. And at that time, my mom actually opened up a flower shop. And so I say I grew up in a flower shop.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe that's the reason for your sunshiny demeanor.
Maybe. I mean, the customer service, the entrepreneurship, the just wanting to make other people feel happy and joyful. I think that really is kind of where a lot of that started.
Yeah, that does sound
and now Valentine's Day is like my favorite holiday for that reason.
I love it.
So yeah, my mom, single mom. I mean, my dad, I think he had a lot to work through. So he wasn't as present as I wanted him to be. So I didn't create a relationship with him until actually my adult life. That's where we got a lot closer.
It's not so uncommon.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing that at least you were able to create a relationship in your adult life, because some people don't even get that. And it continues the trauma.
Exactly. Yeah. So his death anniversary was yesterday. And so that's kind of one of the biggest things that I think about all the time is like, I'm glad that I got to repair that relationship. Even talking about it, I feel like I get like emotional. A lot of people don't. Their parents pass and they have now all this regret or this guilt or the what ifs. And I feel like we actually got to like process a lot of that, which was really, really nice.
It's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the what ifs.
Exactly.
Were you able to have the hard conversations, or did you just kind of forgive, let go, and live on? And you had the hard conversation.
I had the hard conversations. And I think like my profession as a therapist, it gave me the courage to do that, right?
So you were already a therapist at this point.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
so is that what drove you into therapy, the trauma as a 5-year-old, or was it something later?
I think I always had this thought of, because my family went through so much, like there's so much trauma with my sister. My brother was actually violently shot when he was 24 years old.
Okay.
And definitely
gang related,
drug related.
Okay.
I mean, he was suffering. Like I look at him and I'm like, he was only 24.
I know. It's so sad when you look back with healed eyes.
Yeah.
Because you see things so differently, and you see the pain and the struggle that they weren't able to get over.
Exactly.
The stuff you lived through together, but one fed the positive and one fed the negative. They didn't know how to get out. And that's even more painful, I can imagine, as a
Right.
family member. I mean, I watched it with my ex-husband too.
Oh, I mean, my dad, that's kind of when my dad recluded a lot more because that's how he dealt with it. My mom became more of a workaholic,
Mm.
and my family just it was already crumbled, and it just
Mm.
crumbled even more after that tragedy. So we just have been there's just so much. We just
Yeah.
been through so much as a family, as a lineage. I
Mhm.
mean, when I go back, there's just so much there, right? So I think I had this, I don't know if it was like a divine or a spiritual calling of like, I got to help my family. I got to be the different one. And so, when you naturally have this service about you, you go into the social work field.
Yep, you do. You want to save the world.
I wanted to say, exactly. I want to save the world, right? And I quickly learned that I couldn't do that.
Yes.
And so that's when I started to think about how can I help individuals. And
Mhm.
this is when therapy really started to show up in my life. Because I was working at domestic violence shelters. I was
Oh.
working at substance abuse treatment centers. And so I was in the field,
Mhm.
but there wasn't a lot that I could do individually. And so being a therapist
Yeah.
really opened up the doors for me on that.
It gives you the opportunity to dig. Yes, and not
Yes.
just be present. Because when you're serving, you're able to have conversations, but they're not there for that, so you can't be there for that. But when you're a
Mhm.
therapist and they come to you, then you're able to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, because a lot of people do have, I worked with someone who had a relationship with their father like that, and I do want to go back to that.
Yeah.
How did you approach that? I know you had the courage from being a therapist, but what would you say to someone who has a relationship with a parent or a sibling that has gone on for years? How do you
Yeah.
even start a conversation? Or how do you know they're ready? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? How do you build up the courage and then make that first phone call?
Yeah, well, I would say to start, you have to be in a position where you're ready to handle one, the truth, and two, you're ready to risk being rejected. And a
Absolutely.
lot of us aren't. Like that's why hard conversations are so hard
Mhm.
because the minute you opened up, there is the risk that that person might say, "I don't care," or
Mhm.
I did what I did because I did it,
Mhm.
right? And kind of have that perspective, and it crumbles you
Mhm.
and it hurts, and then it makes you not want to be vulnerable next. So I think for me, it's I had to do all of the work
Mhm.
that relationship and just all my other my past relationships, like all the effects that it had on me, I had to do the work.
Mhm.
And once I felt strong to be like, all right, well, if my dad just shuts me down or if he avoids the conversation, I'm okay with that. Like
Yeah.
I would be at peace just knowing that I tried.
Yes.
And and after I did the work, I actually just started connecting with my dad before I opened up the hard conversation. So we were going out to lunch all the time. We were, our tradition was to actually visit the gravesite with my
Mm.
brother. I know that's so sad, but that was
It's
kind of our bond, our way of bonding is going to, and as a Catholic family, that's just what you do. You go
We
to the
celebrate
gravesite.
my nephew's birthday every year.
Yeah.
We don't go to the gravesite, but we have a party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pumpkin carve and do the cake and everything. I mean, we all heal differently, right?
We are, yeah. There's also so many traditions, right? But yeah, that's what we would do every week. And so the more I connected with him, the more like I started to actually feel love versus resentment.
Mhm.
Then I was like, okay, like let's have this hard conversation. So I guess for anyone listening, that's what I would focus on is first the healing
Mm.
part, second connecting with them, if you can, and two, know that there's a risk
Yeah.
that you
Be ready to be rejected. It may
be
happen. So
be
don't be crushed.
yes. Well, you're gonna be
Yes.
crushed, but be ready for that because a
Well, I
lot of
guess preprered is more of the
prepared.
word. Yeah.
Because I hear people all the time, they go in with the intention, this is gonna change everything.
Yeah.
And it sometimes
Yes.
doesn't.
Yes. Yes. And that is true. And that's really sad because when I did talk to my friend, I did give him that advice, what you
Yeah.
said, and be ready to be prepared.
Yeah.
It may happen, but don't allow it to crush you. And it doesn't mean you have to stop. You can reach out again later,
Exactly.
that we don't have to allow their behavior or their lack of or their unhealed wounds, right? To stop us from healing and growing and trying to be better ourselves.
Yeah. And, I had a client, just kind of sharing a little background. The relationship with her mother was really, really, just completely,
Tumultuous.
yeah, like just a lot of challenges, a lot of resistance, a lot of like her own trauma being triggered. And she just wanted to change her mom. Like she wanted her mom to change. And we had to have like really honest conversations about like, that may never happen.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to continue in the relationship and accept her as she is? Or are you ready to take a step back from this relationship?
That you hit another one because I've spoken to a lot of women, the same thing,
Yeah.
right? And so what would your advice be on continuing a relationship with a family member who is very tumultuous, like drama,
Yeah.
right? And because people still want to have a relationship. They don't want to cut off their mother. They
No.
don't want to cut off their sister.
No.
I don't get it. I'd be like, you're out. I can't, and maybe once a month, like kind of reach out, check in. But what would you recommend how they can keep that relationship and keep themselves healthy at the same time?
Yeah. And I think if you're Latina, you don't really have the choice.
Yeah, right. Like they'll track you,
Like,
they'll chase you down,
Exactly.
Yes.
And I probably could speak to my experience with my mom. My mom, I love her, and it's taken me up until now to just accept who she is, because for a while I was also like that client. I wanted my mom to change. Like, why can't she change? Why does she have to be like this? Why does she act like this? Right. And I would be so angry and I had so much resentment. And I had to ask myself, do I want my mom in my life? Do I want a mom in my life? Absolutely. Right.
And that's it too sometimes, right? Not my mom, a mom. Do I want to like that relationship?
Do I want the relationship? Yeah. And when I decided yes, then that means that I had to accept her as exactly as she was and stop trying to change her. I don't stop trying to influence her. That's the difference. I'm always saying, hey mom, what about this? Or hey mom, have you thought about this? Or hey mom, I really don't like that you do this. Can you stop? And sometimes she'll be like, why are you being like that? Right. And then some days I'll get the, okay, fine. Right. Yeah. So I will say, I think my mom is different because she is more willing. And for that client, that mom wasn't.
Yeah.
So I guess the way that you would work through that is boundaries. And I know that word gets tossed around a lot, but
so important. I mean, it gets tossed around because I think there was a lack of for so long.
Yes.
So now people are like everything else, right? They go overboard.
Yeah.
But yes, the boundaries are definitely, I agree, 100%.
And the misconception with boundaries is the boundaries is not for them. It's for you.
Yes.
So you can't say, hey, don't call me 30 times a day and then hope that they're going to follow your boundary. No, the boundary is, I'm not going to answer every time my mom calls me because
great clarification.
She needs a document signed or she has a question on her insurance, right? Like I'm going to call her when I have the time. So that's the boundary that you need to have with parents in that way.
And what would you recommend when that phone rings again and again? Silence it, not block them, but maybe for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Like how should they handle that?
So the iPhone has a really, really nice feature, putting do not disturb or silence those notifications, or just turn your phone off, right? If you feel the need to have to do that. But yeah, it's a tough one because a lot of clients who do set boundaries, especially with mom, they have so much guilt.
Yes.
And I went through that where I'm like, oh my God.
Especially like you said, our culture.
Yes.
Cultures are different, right? We're all different. But in the Hispanic culture, I mean, gosh. Cutting off anybody is like.
Cutting off anybody, if you don't answer immediately. I remember when I was younger and I had to have a conversation with my mom. She would call like everybody because she thought something bad would happen to me. And at one point she called the cops because I didn't answer. And it was only like 3 hours that I didn't answer. So
And how old were you at this time?
I was like 20.
Yeah.
So, maybe she had her reasons for thinking so
But still,
extreme.
Yes.
But still extreme, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think being able to have the conversations and then do what you need to do so that you start feeling more comfortable in setting that boundary.
Yeah. I that's the hardest thing I had to learn with my ex
Yeah.
was one, I couldn't change him. And two, not allowing his actions to affect me. And people were like, "How do you sleep?" I was like, "Girl, I sleep like a baby." Like not that I wasn't stressed, but it was kind of like I knew that my time to stress out was during the day, but at night I needed my rest because I needed to get through the next day, whatever that day had for me. But let's talk about that because I lived it, right?
Yeah.
And living with an addict, or an alcoholic,
Yep.
or someone with bipolar. I mean, because these are all very chaotic people, right? And they're in your life, and they're usually people you love and people you hold dear to your heart. And they're creating a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
And a lot of gaslighting is happening. When I finally really realized what was going on, I started keeping a journal because I needed to keep my days straight. He had me so screwed up, I didn't even know if Monday was Monday or Wednesday was Wednesday, or if he was at the bank Tuesday or Thursday, because he just bullshitted me so much on purpose to keep me so crazy, right? So I really believe that I have some PTSD still lingering. Can you explain that and kind of how that works in our mind and in our body, and how we move forward from, because I don't think a lot of people also understand the trauma that a person that is living with someone like that ends up with, right? It's kind of like, oh, just leave him, get over it, move on with life, And it's
I wish it was that easy.
But there's a lot of healing that needs to get done. And I've seen so many times people leaving a relationship and jumping into another relationship, and you just take the pain and the trauma from one relationship into your next relationship. So people need to know that they need to heal, what that looks like, and how they can go about starting.
Yeah.
Because the hardest part is starting, I think, and recognizing like, shit, I got trauma.
The awareness piece is probably the hardest. Yeah. So the PTSD that relationship caused you, I actually like to call it like attachment PTSD, because PTSD tends to only last a certain amount of months, right? But if like you said, you go into another relationship and you're still getting triggered and these symptoms are still coming up, it's actually called attachment PTSD. And basically what that means is that the attachment theory explains that when we get really close to somebody and we start to develop trust and vulnerability and love, then this is where our like true selves, we're like the most vulnerable in that moment. And so the tendency of being triggered is more likely. Right. This is why people say, but when I'm single, like I'm good. Like nothing bothers me.
I'm like, shit, what's a relationship? I'm good. Yes. Like
there's security.
Yes. I'm terrified. Let's be real. If I'm going to be completely transparent.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get here.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be set back.
Yes.
And I'm building and I'm growing and I'm learning. And it's like, oh, I don't want to start over again and be in trauma. Like, no.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's really scary, especially when, like you said, I've already built this security. I don't want to lose it, right? And so, yes, you will be triggered in the relationship. One, because our triggers will never entirely go away. They will decrease, and they will actually really, really decrease over time, but it never goes away. And the reason why is trauma is stored as a memory, and our memory don't get erased. People who start EMDR, and maybe we can talk a little about EMDR, but EMDR is not, I tell people, it's not this magic pill that's going to erase your memories. Like, you're still going to get triggered, but now you're going to have the thoughts and you're going to have the tools to be able to decrease that trigger and bring a sense of safety.
Well, you're able to recognize it, that it's a trigger.
Yes.
And then you can process it And I'm really good at that. But, I just want to process it for myself. I don't want to teach somebody after I've
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And you see there's a lot of unhealed men out there. More women are doing the work
Yeah.
than men are.
I know.
And it's unfortunate because you did have a lot of unhealed women who weren't able to be themselves because they were, I don't want to say trapped in a marriage.
Yeah.
They were just in a marriage. And, there's a lot of compromise and a lot of things that go on in a marriage. And sometimes the mom learns to just not talk and raise the children and do her thing and dad work, so there's not a lot of conversation on how to have healthy relationships. Even if parents are in a healthy relationship, you only see what you see. But sometimes what may look like a healthy relationship still isn't a healthy relationship.
Right.
So you have a lot of men who think they're living a healthy relationship, but they're not because they don't even know how to communicate. They're just going through the motions, right? So, yeah, that's my
soapbox. Me and my husband have this conversation a lot because he's also in the mental health field, and he talks a lot about how, like, we need more groups that are surrounding, with men. We need more community that is with men, and I think we're moving in that direction. But I think there's still a lot of need there for sure.
Okay, so back to the trauma stored in the body and being triggered. You get better at recognizing it, so you get better at processing it. Now, how does someone, let's say, move on to a relationship?
So when you're stuck in your trauma, before you could even recognize it, your body's already acting as it is traumatized, meaning that it's hard to stop a trigger from happening just with awareness because your body fully takes over and is now in that like survival mode. And so I'll talk a little about EMDR because it's hard to explain this without really talking about it.
No, good. I was going to ask you about it.
Yeah.
So yes, please.
So EMDR stands for eye movement reprocess. God, it's like a whole freaking mouthful. Eye movement reprocessing desensitizing. Okay. And the idea behind that is we process the trauma to desensitize it. And the desensitizing part is bringing the emotional charge out of that trigger. It's bringing the energy down. So if somebody calls you and tells you, hey, I saw, your ex-boyfriend at the store and you guys are still together, your body's going to immediately, your heart's going to pound, your energy's going to go up. And so bringing that emotional charge down is what EMDR does.
Which is great because I have studied a little neuroscience.
Okay.
And I do realize I've learned that emotional charge that you're talking about, our body actually gets addicted to it. So without people even realizing it, they're may not get the charge from the ex-boyfriend, but their body and their mind is going to give them something to get that charge because it's addicted to the feeling. So that's when the subconscious takes over, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it might not be like that specific trigger, but it's anything that reminds you of it. That's the addiction part, that your body will actually start looking for things that are like what you have already experienced. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy at the end of the day. So yeah, and so when you're in it, a lot of clients, they'll come to me and they're really they talk about how I can't control these emotions. So they know they have the trauma, but just because they're aware of it, they can't stop it.
I've been there.
Yes.
I've been there. It was the recurring thoughts. Like, oh my God. I did. I went to the doctor. I had to get medication. It was, it just, which was kind of crazy. That's never happened to me before. And I hate the idea of the medication because all the side effects, but it did work.
It does. Yeah. And medication, I always say it helps temporarily so that you can get the coping skills. But I don't believe that in some cases, some people do need to be on medication for their whole life. Yeah, lifelong. But in a lot of cases, if we can treat the trauma, then those symptoms go down and you won't need to, you won't need the medication.
And your kids won't need it either because you'll be healed and you'll be able to help them just be better little humans. And I think that's the most important part is that we have to realize that we have to do the work, because if we don't do the work, we're not going to help
Yeah.
our family maybe see down the line. It may not be instant, but they may eventually see, or their kids may see. It's like they may never even see, but their kids might
Oh,
see
for
the
sure.
difference, right? In your personality and their stressed out personality, and want to be
Mhm.
more like Auntie because she's not always like all, or
Yes.
whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
I don't, it's like if people don't want to heal themselves for themselves, it's like heal yourself for your children,
Yeah.
for the generations to come.
Mhm.
So they don't have to be anxiety ridden.
Exactly.
older.
Yeah, that's honestly like my mission when it comes to therapy and really life is to be able to heal generational trauma. My nieces, I have 2 nieces. One is 27, the other one is 20 or she just turned 21.
Oh, fun.
The fact that they call me
Oh,
for relationship advice, for life advice, for just like their mental, like I always tell my husband, like, I've made it. Like, I made it.
yes,
Like, the
I
fact that they
know.
can reach
Yes.
out and I've been able to help them.
and you're giving them solid advice.
Oh,
yes.
1000%.
They're not calling their girlfriend who's
No.
yeah.
So that to me, I'm like, I made it.
Yeah.
I won already, right? I've been able to like help them heal and like they feel comfortable coming to me. So yeah, I think it really is about helping like this younger generation, because I remember being 16 and feeling just so lost, like
Yeah.
not knowing what to do and not having any resources and support. And that those are actually the 2 things that create trauma is not having resources and not having support. So feeling alone and having no coping skills.
Yep. And that's my thing. That's
Yeah.
why I started my foundation.
Yeah.
Because I never wanted anybody to feel alone. Ever.
Exactly.
It's yeah. Life's already lonely. You can be surrounded by a million people and feel alone.
Mhm.
So, to be able to talk about it, to be able to bring good information to maybe help somebody know how to cope or where
Yeah.
to start. And so where should they start?
Yeah. So if you are experiencing that PTSD or the attachment PTSD, definitely doing trauma work, because traditional therapy is great. But if you have trauma, then you're not getting into the body. You're just actually processing the mind. And we can sit here and I could tell you all the coping skills you need. And the minute you walk out this door and you get triggered, all those coping skills are going to go out the window. Why? Because your body is reacting and that rational part of the brain is completely decreasing
Yes.
at that time. So I always tell people, if there's truly trauma and you grew up in a unhealthy household, you need to do some trauma work.
That's why I really want to teach emotional regulation.
Yeah.
Because it's the same concept. It's exactly that. Processing the mind and the body together so you're
Yes.
able to really heal.
Yes.
And not just try and mask over it, or end up in the freeze or the fawn or, fight and flight. And a lot of people are living in fight and flight. So how could somebody recognize if they're living in fight or flight or trauma?
Yeah. So if they are, exactly like you said, being able to identify any physical reactions that they're having, and really just, how are you struggling? Are you struggling because your mind can't stop racing? Are you struggling because every time you get stressed out, you start to hyperventilate? What are the things that you're most struggling with? And being able to ask yourself, like, have I gone through some really difficult things that I've never processed? Because that's the other thing. We can learn emotional regulation. But again, if you're not doing the trauma work, like really understanding where this comes from and changing your beliefs. So trauma leaves you with a negative belief. Like for you, I'm kind of already hearing a little bit of your negative belief.
Yeah. I mean, are you kidding? It's like, it's out there. It's like a huge red flag. Like, yeah.
I don't think it's a red flag.
It's a red, it's like, it's, I'm waving, like, I don't want a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
That right there.
Yes.
I don't want a relationship.
Yes.
And the reason probably you don't want a relationship is you don't feel safe.
Right.
I don't feel safe in a relationship.
Yes, that, and I just don't want to compromise right now. I'm living my truest self, right? I figure if I meet somebody, I'll meet somebody, they'll kind of fall in place, right?
Yeah.
So I it's not so much I don't want a relationship, I just don't want to feel like I'm looking for it. Like I don't, I'm not there, because people say like, are you on dating? No, like, no, I'm not going to go on dating. I don't have time. I tried it once. I got bombarded with emails. Not that
Yeah.
I'm so like amazing, but really,
you are.
But yeah, sifting through them.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God. And then you're like, you roll your eyes, half the time you're looking through it like you're sifting through bullshit. So
Yeah.
so it's just the whole chaos of it all.
Okay. And so for someone who maybe if there's fear behind, I don't want a relationship.
And I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's
Okay.
always fear behind a relationship because who wants to get hurt again?
Right.
Yeah.
So anytime that there is fear under a belief, that means that there has been some level of trauma.
Oh, yeah. Well, girl, there's trauma.
Yes. And so what EMDR does is it'll take that negative belief and we start working on changing that and actually having a thought process that is not based in fear, but one based in reality and actually based in like what you want for your future.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing is identifying your symptoms, being able to do the trauma work and changing the beliefs that your trauma has created so that you don't live in fear.
Yeah. I can see that because it's so funny, they're like, manifest what you want. Even when I start writing, I don't even want to write anything. I don't care. So it's like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine for now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be this hot forever either.
Yes, please.
So, it's funny because you hear those things too, right? Like, oh, well, you don't want to be single. It's like, I don't know. Do I not? Maybe I do. Like,
and funny enough,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, funny enough, like I have a lot of younger clients, women in like they're 25 or they're 27, and they're not wanting and not out of fear. They're just like, I don't want to compromise. Like they're living in their own apartment, right? They have everything. Yes. Women are becoming really successful. And they are questioning whether they want a relationship or not.
Which is really sad.
It makes me so sad. I'm like, no.
It's so sad because there's a lot of beauty in a good relationship. That I do know. And I think my thing is too, is like, I'm not going to get into a relationship just to get into a relationship.
Right.
I'm going to be 55. Like, I don't have time to screw around. Like, if you're serious, let's be serious. If you're looking to date, like, hello, I'm 55. I'm not here to date. Like, that's in your 20s and in your 30s, But it's not because I'm looking to get married and have children, obviously. But I just don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
Like, why give your heart? And if you want to be in a healthy relationship, you want to be, 100% yourself and feel safe, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of women don't either because, society nowadays, unfortunately, has made it so like, women's lib and blah, blah, blah. Who needs a man? You don't need a man. And I don't think it's actually so we can learn how to compromise, so we can learn how to live in a community and not be so selfish and self-centered, right?
Exactly.
So mine obviously doesn't come from the selfish and self-centered because I spend a lot of time in service. And that's another reason I spend a lot of time doing my own thing and in service. So that's why I think they have to kind of fall into place in my life a little bit and understand that part. Because I would never want to give this up, or like the other things that I'm doing. But I do think it's sad that the younger generation, because they're the ones who are going to be having the children and raising our next generation. And if women don't want to have a husband, well, how are they going to have babies? And kids need a father.
Oh,
I don't care what anybody says.
Yes.
We need our dad. That relationship broke my heart when I wasn't talking to my father for, different reasons. But we have a tight relationship.
Yeah.
Women pick their husbands through their fathers usually, right? So what do you tell those young women?
Yeah, I mean, I think the father wound is very real, and it has really damaging effects on our like future relationships because women are either choosing men that are not that great to them, right? Or they're not choosing any men because they have this ideology that men are nothing, that men are not good enough, right? And it is really sad. And what I would say is I would say do the trauma healing because there's a wound there.
Yeah.
There's a wound, and then those wounds create a lot of fear. And then it creates this overcompensation because you're trying to like overcome that fear in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to do a lot of work on that as well, because I was choosing men that just were actually not good. And that did give me the perspective that men aren't good. But no, there was all these other great men that I wasn't looking at because I wasn't healed. And it was until I started to do the work that I actually met my husband. And that didn't mean that our relationship was perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
We both are brown and black people that needed a lot of work, and we chose each other. And at the end of the day, we both wanted to grow, and we both wanted to heal. So yeah.
As long as you have someone who's willing to want to do the work.
Yes.
Right? Because we are all broken. In one way or another, we're all broken. And anybody who thinks they're not, they're the most broken, I think, because, they think they're perfect. And it's that's why I don't jump into relationships, because I know I still need to heal. And people don't take the time to heal.
Yeah.
They think they're okay.
But also don't wait till you're 100% healed, because you're not going to be 100%
Thank
healed.
you for clearing that up.
Yes. So yes, you want to heal enough to where you're understanding yourself, but the real healing is going to happen in a relationship, because they are your mirror. They allow you to grow. They allow you, because they're the ones pointing it out, like, hey, don't talk to me that way, or hey, why did you say that, or hey, why are you acting?
See,
like,
and I don't want to be that person.
But in all relationships, that's how you. And again, no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be constant,
I get
right? But your partner allows you to really, like they see the real you.
Yeah.
Right. But no, you don't want to be in a relationship where you're fixing someone.
So how does somebody know the difference?
I think like I said, I think being able to create like that foundation where there's love, there's trust, like the beginning of your relationship should be really beautiful.
Yes.
If it's already tumultuous at the beginning,
can you imagine?
That's probably not a healthy relationship, right? So no, the relationship should build so much investment that by the time the hard stuff comes, you guys have already built enough trust and love to work through those things.
And what's so sad? I think there's, people always say, oh, the poor woman, right? There's a lot of men are out there broken too.
Oh,
and they're the same, right? They don't want to be in a relationship because they don't want to get their heart broken just as much as the woman. So what would you say to those men?
I would say this. I would say the same thing. I mean, I would say that, if there is something that is blocking or creating a barrier for you to be in a relationship, let's really look at that. Like, I actually was at a networking event yesterday, and this young man, he was 28 years old. He was talking to us, and he was just sharing about his relationship. People do that.
Yes.
As soon as I say I'm a therapist, they'll start opening up about their relationships.
It's like a doctor.
It is.
The pain in my elbow.
Yes. So he was talking about how he has not had a relationship because his mom actually constantly told him, no, she's not pretty, or no, that's not a good person. Like, she was always the getting in the way of him actually building a relationship. And so I actually told him, I said, so you need to look at the relationship with you and your mom, because if she is creating a blockage for you to actually learn what you like and actually work through some of those challenges, that may not be a healthy dynamic for you.
Well,
right?
It's kind of like, is she jealous and just doesn't want any woman to take her meal? There's some moms that
there's some culture stuff there.
Yes.
So, but still, right?
Yes,
Regardless, if it's cultural, let's really look at that, because that's creating a barrier for you to have a healthy relationship.
Yeah. True. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the modalities that you do.
Yeah.
Because you do the HDMR,
EMDR,
and CBT. Is that what?
Yeah, I use CBT. So CBT is mainly just kind of processing your thoughts and being able to create changes. Really, the biggest ones that I use is the EMDR, the attachment theory. And it comes from attachment styles. And I always like talking about this because it's kind of like a personality test. Like, have you ever taken those personality tests?
All the time. I love them.
Okay, so attachment styles it's kind of like that. You go and you take a test and you identify what your attachment style is. There's 3. There's the avoidant type, the secure type, and the anxious type. And it's really interesting because, as simple as it is, it's really textbook for how we're feeling and
I
how we're
love
showing up
it.
in relationships. And the reason being is that is how much of an impact that relationship with your mom is growing up. That's the biggest factor in determining
Wow.
your attachment style. So I work with attachment styles a lot. And then the somatic, really teaching clients how to connect with their body, how to connect with their feelings, and being able to express themselves in a healthier way.
Can you give one example of maybe what that looks like?
Yeah. The somatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in EMDR, the way that I introduce the somatic part is I'll actually teach clients how to do bilateral tapping. And it's
Oh, I
basically,
like tapping.
it's not the tapping where you're tapping your chakras or your acupuncture points. It's not that tapping. So that's this tapping here. If people can
Actually,
kinda
I'm
see it.
just a tapper.
You're just a tapper.
I don't
Okay.
even know where
I love
I'm
that.
Not, yeah, I'm not. I just tap where it feels good.
Okay,
Yes.
that could be an acupuncture tapping.
Okay.
So a bilateral tapping is actually, I'll have my clients cross their arms like this and they tap left and right. You could do it on your legs,
Okay.
left and right, even drumming, left and right, walking, anything that activates that left, right,
The both
left,
sides of the brain.
frequency. Because yes, it activates the left and the right hemisphere of the brain and it sends signals to your nervous system that you're safe, that there's no chaos, that there's no bear running behind you. So that helps the body and really the nervous system go into a state of safety versus a state of, instead of like staying in that state of fight or flight.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I teach them that, and we go into guided meditations where we actually enhance the positive feelings. And I call that the calm, safe place.
Okay. So do you touch on a lot of the past? You do.
Yes.
So they have to process all that trauma, which means they have to bring it up. They have to talk about it. You have to deal with it.
Not all at once. So I'll give you what the first session looks like to start EMDR. We'll take a problem that you have. Let's say that you're having anxiety and you can't stop overthinking. Every time you wake up in the morning, it's the same thoughts. We'll start there and we'll start to unpack it. And we get down to the negative belief. Well, and for a client, her negative belief was, I'm going to die.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty extreme. And I was like, wow, okay, let's start connecting the dots. When else in your life did you feel like you were going to die and you had that same overthinking, the same panic in your body? And she started giving me examples. Your mind will start connecting the dots. Oh, well, when I was 6, I felt this way. Or, oh, I remember when my mom, we moved to the States and I felt that.
Felt real fear.
Every time she felt real fear. Funny enough, this client, I asked her about her mother's birth.
Oh.
And I usually do because it can give us
I'll
a lot of
tell
insight.
You a story after.
Yeah. And her mother's birth was actually really traumatic where the doctor thought that the baby was going to die.
Wow.
Wild, right? So this belief actually started like the minute she was born or about to be born. So that's how strong our memories are. And that's how strong our negative beliefs are.
That's insane. But I believe it 100%. My ex told me a story about this hospital. He hated that hospital. He didn't even know it was a hospital.
Yeah.
But he just hated that building. And he finally figured out it was a hospital. And I don't know how he told his mom one day. They were both actually RNs at one point. And she said, why? And he goes, I don't know. I just hate that building. And she says, you were born there.
Oh, wow.
And he said, really? And she goes, yeah, you were born there.
That's crazy.
And apparently the dad was out cheating, while she was in labor. And yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. And it's the idea that everything that you go through, it's held in your body. You feel it, your experiences. And
through generations, even
through generations, through lineage, absolutely.
Yes,
but yeah, your body literally keeps the score on everything that you've been through.
Who writes that book? Do you know offhand? The Body Keeps the Score.
I think it's Bustle, last name Bustle. I can't remember the first name. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'll put it in the description because that sounds like a good book to read.
It's a good book. It's very dense, but it's very good.
What do you mean by dense?
like there's a lot of research and a lot of
Oh,
science.
okay.
And so it's not just like you're kind of reading a self-help book.
I
It's
love
more
the science. I like the
science-based.
research.
Yeah,
Which makes it more tangible to me because,
absolutely.
it's backed by research. It's not just somebody giving you words of,
Yes.
wisdom,
Absolutely.
self-help.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could give anybody advice right now that might be having really anxious feelings and not sure, what to do, where to go, maybe they don't have financial aid, maybe they have no insurance.
Yeah. So if you are not able to attain a therapist right now, I would really start learning some of the somatic tools. So some of the tapping, you can go on YouTube and search up different somatic techniques.
Okay.
Yoga. So funny enough, in 2017, I was in a really deadly, almost fatal car accident.
Oh, wow.
And my life was kind of chaotic at that time. I was still very lost. I was still trying to like find my way. I know that wasn't that long ago, by the
How old were
way.
you at this
I
time?
was 25.
Okay.
Yep, I was 25 years old. I hadn't even been to therapy yet at 25 years old.
Really? Okay.
Isn't that wild?
I love that. You know what? I always love to get the age at that time because so people can relate, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you don't have to know immediately, you don't have to start immediately.
I
I
didn't
didn't start
start.
healing until I was 50 because I finally
Yes.
shared my story of my suicide.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, at 25, my life was still crazy, to say the least. And I got into this car accident for just making really dumb decisions. And they had to airlift me out of the car. I had lost so much blood. They didn't know if I was going to make it. I broke many, many bones. I'm the fact that I'm walking and I walk normal and I don't have any illnesses or challenges is a miracle, really. And that helped me change my life all around. But when I got into the car accident, again, no resources. I felt alone because I didn't really have a lot of support system. But one of the things that I started doing at the hospital was I actually listened to really calming music. So music activates the vagus nerve, which activates the nervous system. So just even wake up and put on something really calming. For me, it was John Mayer. That's still a memory today. Yeah. Every morning I would wake up, I would put on John Mayer and I would start doing my makeup and I would write gratitude lists. Those are the simplest practices to start quieting down your mind. Because you can imagine, my mind was crazy. I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to recover? Like, what's going to happen to my job? All these things. So if you don't have the resources right now, I would turn to very simple practices to just start quieting the mind.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's why I started my podcast.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. I listened to podcasts. I listened to Christian podcasts. Yeah. Every morning I listened to a podcast. I learned something new. It's like, wow, it's just incredible. And that just opens up your mind to growth, right? And it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I even, I lost my train of thought. But, music. I'll be feeling down sometimes. And it's funny because I'll change the music. I'm like, this is a beautiful Christian song, but not
not
now.
today.
I am not crying right now. Like I got shit to do, and I'll put on like old disco or Donna Summer, and then it's like, let's go, So yes, music is huge, and that's actually how I got through my divorce.
Yes,
I listened to the breakup song. I don't even know who sings it. God put it in my feed that one morning, and I'm not kidding. I listened to it on repeat. And it's all about fear. You don't own me. You don't know me. Like, I'm not the person you think I am. I'm strong. I'm a woman. And now's the time to play that video, Solomon. I'm strong. I am woman. I want you all to see this video of Anabell. It's just so beautiful. And I just feel like we should all feel this way at least, not once, multiple times in our life, because you deserve it. You deserve it. We deserve it.
So I'm about to walk down the aisle. I feel nervous. I feel excited. But just overall, I just feel so beautiful. I really, really feel so beautiful. Look at my roses. I'm so excited. Wow. Just wow.
I'm telling you, look at him tearing up.
Minutes before I say I do.
Stunning.
Oh my God.
Stunning.
That brought back all the feels.
God. Those are the feelings we want to come back all the time, right?
Oh my God. No, the wedding, the wedding was really special. And I think it makes me emotional because,
I know, it made me emotional.
so the minute I was really happy, the minute I walked out, I actually was like hit with like, I felt like I was having a panic attack.
Oh.
And I think it was just overwhelming emotions. And the emotion was grief.
Oh.
And reason for that is my husband and me, we actually lost our dads 3 months apart.
Oh, wow.
And so walking down the aisle, having 2 empty chairs at the end.
Especially when for a woman, the idea of walking down the aisle is having your dad right next to you.
Yes. And so he was crying, I was crying, and I think we were just grieving together, but also like overwhelmed with excitement. So it was like these 2 opposing, strong feelings. It was wild. It was wild.
That is so wild. I can imagine. I mean, I've been there. I can't tell you when, but when you have those 2 strong opposing emotions, and you're walking down the aisle to get married. Like you don't even have a minute to process really what's happening.
But I think the layer of grief really just, it took over.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. I love that. I mean, that's part of our story. That was a really hard time for both of it. Like for him, losing his dad was, I mean, he was closer to his dad than I actually was. So losing his dad that's probably the hardest moment that he will ever have to go through. And also losing, you know, my father. There was just, so that layer of grief was really, really overwhelming, but it was also really beautiful. And I think different people were walking up to us and they said, we've never cried at weddings, but we did at this one. And
they felt the energy.
Everybody felt it. So it was beautiful, but there was a lot of sadness for sure. Yeah.
So what would you say to that young girl who's lived a tumultuous life and thinks that she'll never be that girl?
Oh, girl, it's coming. It's coming. It always does when you're ready for it, of course, but you got to be open. You got to be open to that experience, and you have to desire it. Because if you don't
design it in a sense, right? You design your life to attract someone who's healed.
You can design it, yes. But just even saying I'm ready, because at that time after the hospital, I didn't know what life was gonna look like.
How long did it take for you to heal?
It took me I was bedridden for 2 months.
Wow.
Recovery took me another maybe month and a half.
And how about your mindset to kind of accept what's happened and to have hope?
I didn't accept it, and maybe this was a trauma response, but I was just I can't even think about that. I'm moving on. And so that's where the desire came. I'm moving on. I don't know how, but my life is going to change.
Okay.
So I didn't even process the trauma.
Oh.
I was just absolutely not. This cannot be my life.
You just plowed through, as they say.
Yes. And I was this is how crazy I was. I applied for my master's on my hospital bed.
Good for you.
Because I was this cannot be my life.
Yeah.
This can't be my life, right?
And the truth is you could be a therapist from a hospital bed if it came down to that, if you had to be, you can do things still.
Yeah.
Being immobile.
Well, I didn't have the thought that I was going to be a therapist at that time.
Oh.
I was just I'm going for social work.
Okay.
Social work. So I was still in the mindset of I'm going to help. I got to help people. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Clearly, but I got to move forward. So that's what I would say to somebody struggling is you have to want to move forward. Yeah. Even if you don't, because the what is it called? It'll start showing up. Different things will start showing up. I actually moved to Vegas and thought that, people mistakenly think that if you move to a different state, all your problems will go away. I thought that, and it didn't.
Yeah.
But it gave me a new start to be like, okay, what do I have to do? And then I started therapy, and just things started to unfold.
What made
at
you
that
finally start therapy?
My relationship.
Okay.
So I met my now husband in Vegas. Funny enough, we both moved out there for work.
Wow.
And we're both, he's from Cerritos, I'm from La Habra.
Oh,
so we were
wow.
literally neighbors, so it's crazy. But when I got into that relationship, he was the healthy one.
Oh.
And he was the one that said, no, we need to talk about this. You're not leaving. You're not going to end we need to actually talk about what happened. And I was a flighter. I'm like, no, forget you. I'm out, right? So it put into perspective of like, oh, I'm the problem here. Like, I have some things I got to work on. And so because I wanted this relationship to work, I went to therapy.
What was it about him that made you want to make that relationship work?
He, and maybe this is a little bit of like the father wound. I just felt so protected.
I don't think
very
that's a father
protected.
wound. I think that's what any woman wants to feel with her man.
Yeah.
Is protected.
Yeah. You're right. And
How
maybe
how could you feel safe if you don't feel protected?
Sure. And I think it was like physical protection. Like,
yeah.
He was, he's this.
He could beat somebody up.
Exactly. He was a strong man. And yeah, he was manly, and it was attractive and it was sexy. And I think he's also really intelligent. So
I love brains.
He is a little older than me. And so I think him having the experience and him having the maturity, I think also allowed me to be like, okay, I do have a lot of things to work on. And because you're already in that position, it makes me want to be there with you.
Yes.
Like I
saw the peace and the patience and the kindness. And
yes. I saw the mature. I was not mature at that time. I could say I was still lost.
Yeah.
I was very immature. He said he fell in love with me because I was really ambitious. And
you are.
And I am. I still am. I'm very ambitious. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah.
And I think he saw that. So
yes, you have a beautiful spirit.
Thank you.
You do. You have a beautiful spirit, you guys. You're ever in her energy. You'll see what I mean.
Thank you. So yeah, I think he ultimately helped me get to that place where I'm like, okay, I have some healing.
So it was the opposite.
Yeah.
See, the woman not fixing the man fixing the woman.
Yes.
That was my point too.
Yes.
It goes both ways. It does. And I'm well aware of that. Like, I'm not perfect. And maybe that's why I don't want to get in a relationship either, right? I don't feel fully healed.
Sure.
And I'm doing all these other things. So, that right now is just not my priority, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about, because we're going to have to wrap up pretty
Yep.
soon, but I want to talk about besties.
Yeah.
Because you have created such a great network of entrepreneurial women. And, that's the drive that you have that your husband saw, I'm sure. And so let's talk a little bit about that. What got you started? What made you want to do it? And where do you see it going next?
Yeah. So besties, again, it was one of those things that really came out of nowhere and it ended up becoming this really, really beautiful thing. So I was like a serial networker before starting besties. And I ended up going to one of the groups and there was only one girl there, which is Nicole. She's now like my bestie and also the co-host to Bestiepreneurs. And she actually started her own group first.
Oh, okay.
And I was the only one that showed up. And so at that moment we just clicked. Like if you've met Nicole, we just immediately clicked. And so I started hanging out with her more and we started just being together. And eventually she was like, you know what? Why don't we start something together? Like, I think we're such a great team. And we did. And the intention really was support, community, but friendship.
Yes.
I think that's being lost within women entrepreneurs. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of like, you can't sit with us kind of energy. And we didn't want that. We wanted that friendship I want to know you. I want to connect with you.
Space.
Yes. And so now, if you're in the OC area or even the LA area and you want a community with other women who are just as badass as
Yep.
you.
And friendly and smiling. And yes, it is. It's wonderful because everybody knows why they're there.
Yes.
You know, it's to network, it's to get business and to make friends. And they're
Yes.
intentionally there to make friends. Like they want the community, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
How does somebody get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So Instagram is kind of where I'm most present at. My Instagram is theauthentic.lab. And I post a lot of therapy tips and anxiety tips. And then we can also follow the Bestiepreneurs Network.
Yes, it's been such a pleasure
Yes,
having
thank
you.
you.
I really enjoyed it, Anabell, and I think our guests got a lot out of it because we covered a lot of information.
Yes. Yes, we
So,
did.
we did. All right, guys, till next time. Bye.
Bye.